What up, y'all? DC Fago guy. We have confirmation from Violent J himself confirming what the Naught is about. If you don't know what I am talking about, if you are not subscribed to Humble Among, I am not somebody who follows him. That is my personal choice. I don't agree with a lot of the videos that he makes. I don't agree with a lot of the things that he says, so I don't follow him. However, screenshots of a text conversation between Humble Among and Violent J has come forth. It's been posted on Reddit. It's been posted in other places that came across my feed. And again, if you are somebody who likes Humble Among, that's cool. That's awesome. I'm not about, I'm not petty. My name's not Tom. Shout out to Humble Among for getting this information out. Obviously, I think that was Violent J's goal. For any naysayers who question, do I think that this is really from Violent J? Yeah, I have no reason to not believe it. Violent J made a post on his Instagram, basically plugging Humble Among, so I have no reason to doubt that this is legit or not. But before we dive into all of that, shout out to our members. Durable Object, J-Word, Kabazucha Boom, Lorgasm, Charmakazi, Ivy Killa, Unique Freestyles, Do It for the Underground, MP23, and Sample of a Bad Example. Shout out to our members. If you would like to become a member to help support the channel, there is a link in the description to do so. But thank you to our members for their support. Now, I've got the screenshots pulled up here. I really have no idea where the start of this is or the order of it all. Like I said, I don't follow Humble Among, so I have not watched his video. I just literally have the screenshots, but I'm going to kind of read these text messages out to you guys and then just kind of give my thoughts. This is a My 2 Cents video. I'm pretty sure that this screenshot right here is the beginning, because of the beginning where you have the option to hit the back button. This looks like this is an iMessage from an iPhone. I recognize that kind of layout. Starts off with Violent J saying, I just want to say this Joker's card might not be understood right now, but in the future, when looking back on ICP's life's work as a whole, you'll see this Joker's card was essential. It's just as important as the rest. This card has to happen. Its era has to be lived, as this is all about the bigger picture, the overall message that is the 665 saga. This card on its own might seem like a letdown to some during its era, but its importance cannot be understated. So first off, I feel like a lot of people are already understanding it. I've already kind of talked about it in a previous What's Happening Now. I can't, I'm not going to be that person that says, oh, that was probably because of me. I talked about this on a previous video. It seems that Shaggy at least has seen some of my videos. It could be a safe assumption that Violent J has as well. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to jump to any assumptions, but I think that there's enough people out there that have said and made their little speculations that the Naught was going to be the perspective of an atheist, right? So when he says that he doesn't think it'll be necessarily understood, I don't know what made him think that, because I do see a lot of people that are kind of jumping to the conclusion, and honestly, I'm jumping a little bit ahead of myself. So let's continue on. I think this is the next one. That's the 665, the 17. Each card has its own era in our lives. Time for us to truly soak it in and experience each card's meaning. Now we're entering the era of the Naught. Like it or not, its era must be lived and its meaning must be experienced. The thought of nothing might sound less than thrilling, but that's by design, because the Dark Carnival is all about faith and beliefs. Again, ICP is not about just trying to release a marketable product to sell. Our first goal is the bigger picture of the 665, telling the true legacy of the Dark Carnival as best we can. And then he goes on to say, and I'm assuming, again, I don't know the order of this. I probably should have watched Humble Among's video, but by my own choice, I am not. If you have watched his video, you can tell me down below if I've got the correct order or not. I'm just trying to piece all this together, all right? And yeah. So then he goes on to say, listen, the first 6 Joker cards ends with heaven and hell. It's for those with faith, for those with belief. After they die, they must face either heaven or hell, and they know it. The second deck ends with nothing. It's for those without faith, for those without belief. They believe when you die, nothing happens. You just simply cease to exist. The nothing. That's what the second deck ends with. Nothing. The not. This card explores what it truly means to be nothing. The third deck ends at 5 cards. There is no 6th card because for many of us, we've been along this entire, who've been along this entire ride. We're getting old, or getting older and about to face death in real life. It's time for each of us to make the choice between heaven, hell, or nothing. So we've got that confirmed. Like I said, I think a lot of us were already kind of heading that direction, that this was going to be, because and again, I've made other videos about this as well, where he had previously said that this would be another exhibit of heaven or hell. This would be another exhibit of Shangri-La or Hell's Pit.
You know, it's because the 6 Joker cards are going to end the same each way. Each deck, deck 1, deck 2, deck 3, they're going to end the same. Shangri-La and Hell's Pit.
Obviously, you can't really have the same Hell's Pit and the same Shangri-La. Those are already there. What's the next logical one? Nothing happens. So a lot of us were already kind of heading down that path on our own. This really kind of just confirms it for us that we were on the right train of thought here. There is a 4th message here where he kind of touches on it, and this part has a lot of people like, yo, it's definitely all bangers, that's for sure. It's just not a typical Joker's card. It's more like an ICP EP from back in the day, kind of like a full-length version of Terror Will or something. It's just different in a Joker's card sense because of this card's meaning. It's hard to make something out of nothing, the not. I don't want to make it sound like it's not good. It's great. It's just different in a Joker's card sense from the others. So I think what he is saying there, that, and again, I'm not going to go down this road and say, oh, it's because of me. I put out a couple little videos where I'm like, are we going to get an image of the not? What I'm feeling that he's trying to say is, it's not traditional in us getting an image. It's not traditional in it having a ton of lore behind it. You know what I mean? It's not going to necessarily have a story to tell where there's this message of you got to get right because, this is the place you want to get to. With Shangri-La, it's, you want to live a good life so you can get here. And with Hell's Pit, if you did not live a good life, this is where you're going to end up at. So when he says that this is like Terror Will and this is like some of those EPs, it adds to the lore without adding to the lore, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? We're getting a new Joker card, but there's not going to be a lot lore-wise that's going to connect it to the Dark Carnival because this is supposed to represent nothing happening. This is just going to be, I feel like this is going to be full of concept songs, but maybe we're going to see more of concept songs like the Night of the Axe, Night of the 44, Night of the Chainsaw. Well, not so much Night of the Chainsaw because that to me ties more into with Death Pop and what he's saying, especially when you watch the video and you hear the beginning line PCP. You get high on drugs, there's a good chance you're gonna do some shit while you're high that could fuck up your life, and that's kind of Death Pop's thing, right? But Night of the 44 and Night of the Axe is kind of similarly from the concept there, right? So in those songs, I feel like those concepts tie to Hell's Pit, right? If you go on this crazy heinous night and do this crazy shit, you're going to end up in Hell's Pit. But what if you don't believe that? What if you don't believe you're going to end up in hell? There's nothing stopping you from having remorse because you're like, fuck it. There's nothing after we die, there's nothing. So who fucking cares, right? So maybe there's going to be a lot of concept or a lot of songs with those kind of concepts where there's just no empathy and no remorse because fuck it. What's after this? Nothing. Doesn't fucking matter. I'll do whatever the fuck I want in my life. That to me is kind of what he is signaling at with this stream of messages here. So very fucking dope to kind of have this. Like I said, I think that this, and it's not necessarily at me, I know there's lots of conversations being had, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, maybe Instagram. I think that there's a lot of people that's waiting for that image, and I think that there's a lot of people that are ready to dive into the lore, and I think that this is Violent J trying to reach out and say, hey, don't expect too much, don't expect the traditional sense, because this isn't like traditional Joker cards. This is in its own league of what it's trying to tell. That's kind of what I took from all of this, but we did get confirmation from Violent J that the Naught is nothing. It is from the perspective of an atheist who believes after death, nothing. We just cease to exist. So pretty fucking cool for him to put that out there. Again, shout out to Humble Among for getting that exclusive and putting that out there. Like I said, I ain't petty. My name's not Tom. It's cool that he was able to go fucking do that. So for everybody who likes Humble Among and thinks that I hate him, I do not. I just don't agree with everything he says, so I don't follow. That's the way it should be. You don't follow somebody, or you don't like something somebody's doing, you shouldn't follow them. That's where I'm at. But tell me down below what you guys think about that. Do you guys feel like maybe the Naught could be about something else? I don't see how you could. You kind of have it from the horse's mouth saying like this is what it's going to be. But I do firmly think that this is Violent J's way of trying to say like don't expect the traditional shit. So that being said, I'm letting go of I want an image before the album comes out. It would have been cool. And you know, I joked also in a previous video about like maybe this is going to be the album cover. I put it in a video, and I also believe I posted it on Instagram where it was like you could barely see the Wraith's head, but it was like just black. There's just stars. Maybe that's what we're gonna get. Maybe we're gonna get an album cover that doesn't have an entity to it. Maybe that's why he's saying this. It's like the Naught, there is nothing to show of the Naught because the Naught is nothing. There's nothing to show. There's nothing to really say. This is just going to be an album full of fucking wicked shit bangers. Which, hey, that Mikey Clark has been confirmed to be producing this album. I'm fucking here for it, baby. I'm fucking here for it. So I've definitely let go of expecting an image. I'm ready to just dive into this fucking album. I don't think there's much more lore to it than that. But yeah, tell me down below what you guys think about this revelation, if you will, about the Naught. What are you guys thinking? Do you think it's still coming out at the Gathering, or do you think there's a possibility it could be delayed? I think it's coming out. Shaggy's been very vocal about they're like trying to wrap it up, and you know the Gathering is what, roughly a month away now. I think it's possible. You know, there's a good turnaround rate for pressing up CDs. Tell me down below what you guys think. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.